And I hear people say, you're obsessed with guns, or why do you have to train all the time? Or you want to be a cop? You want to be in the military? No.
I get that all the time.
No, it's all stuff I like to do besides do that.
Right.
What I'm saying is everybody should be a capable man or a capable woman.
Welcome, We the People podcast. I'm Shelton, and today I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Fred. I'm the dad of the Survival Sisters, avid shooter.
Colin of Gunplay TV, your favorite competitive shooter and firearms enthusiast.
My name is Nick Blackman, a.k.a. the Phil Marlboro on Instagram. You can find me on there. I'm just a regular guy. Last episode, we spoke about situational awareness, which plays a part, more importantly, probably ever than now, because probably as you've seen, we've had a mass shooting in New York City. And so if you haven't seen that, please check it out. Do a little bit of research on there. But last week we spoke about, fellas, situational awareness. And so to compound on that subject, the question is, what are you preparing for? And let's talk about it. Shelton, what you thinking?
Well, I was thinking about that, like the whole mass shooting, and if I was in New York at that time, and you know what, I can't carry in New York, number one.
Right.
But if that was in Georgia, I would have my, 9mm Hellcat, and round capacity, I think is an important thing, right? Because you're going to be kind of at a distance if you got to neutralize that mass shooter. So just thinking about that, like thinking about what I would be carrying at that time in this situation. In New York, is different out there. So,
but before you even get there, though, you're at home. Mm-hmm. Are you thinking the what could happen? I'm going to put this on because this may happen. So before you even get there, wherever that destination is, mm-hmm. New York, Georgia, you traveling somewhere that has gun restriction laws that are tighter than Georgia because it's loose booty in Georgia, but you go to a different state. Say you're in New York with your son because he wants to go see a college. What are you thinking at home before you even get there?
Well, I'm not thinking about that. Of course, I'm not going straight to the worst, right? But if that situation pops off, we would have to transition to what I would do in that situation. Like once I hear the gunshots, right. Like I'm trying to get out of the way, try to identify where it's coming from, trying to get away from the scene. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm not thinking about it, before I leave the house. Cause I'm leaving the house every day. It could happen at the grocery store. I can't be concerned like that. But in Georgia, of course, I'm going to have my gun. So
to the question, right, that we got off camera, and so much to your credit for bringing it back. What are we preparing for, right? It's a difficult question to answer because I think a lot of the times there's no one answer to that question, right? It's a slew of potential scenarios that things could happen, right? It's not so much like you said, I'm taking my son for a college visit. I'm not thinking that it will. I'm not planning for it to happen, but it's one of those situations where. Why do you carry a gun at all times, right? I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And God forbid I be in a situation where, I'm forced to defend myself and I don't have that tool to kind of, or that force multiplier to kind of equalize, such a scenario like that mass shooter. That's a terrifying situation. That's probably one of the worst scenarios to even entertain, as far as preparedness goes, but it's a very real reality, even in areas with extremely strict gun control, to your point, like New York City, right? And so I think it's something that you got to consider. But I struggle to answer that question with one sentence. It's if I had to, I'd probably say I'm just looking to be able to protect myself, my family, my loved ones, in such an inclement scenario and be able to get off the X and to safety, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, like people ask that question, and for me, it's more about being prepared. It helps me manage anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's because the world is anxious. There's a lot of anxiety in the world because a lot of things are given to you and a lot of ifs that go on in the world. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to make sure that I know logistically where I'm going, how I'm moving, where I have to go to, and where I can go and where I can't go. Because a lot of people, they get up every morning and don't even know the lay of the land or where they're going.
Right.
And then they get so numb to traveling that they don't realize. They don't even see the other stuff that's going on in the world because they're so used to doing things this way. And so I try to break that with myself because I know, like I said, depending on where I go, I may not have a firearm. I know it sounds good to say that, but sometimes that firearm can bring you more problems.
Absolutely.
Then it can, help you because like I said the last time, what if you're in a situation where you fire off and you defend yourself, cops roll in, then you're holding a firearm.
Right.
But even after that, what if the witnesses say, hey, what you're saying happened, that's not what we saw. Now you're defending yourself and now you're having to rearrange your whole entire life financially and you may have to do some time. So for me, I have to put all that stuff in a bag. Even going to places like New York, like I hear people say stuff like, yeah, it don't matter. Just because they don't want me to care, don't mean I can't care. Yeah, because those are people ain't never done no time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they say stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to manage everything you do with the what ifs, and you have to weigh out everything. Is there an answer to everything? No. But you can minimize a lot of drama and trauma if you think about the bigger picture.
And I think that's a part of the question too is what are you preparing for?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, what comes next, say you do have to draw that gun, it's the lawyers, the financial burden, the family piece of it. And so that question is more than just how do I make sure my family and my situation is safe?
Yeah.
And are you thinking about that before you leave the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had
planning for it.
I had a cousin that went to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras, and we talk about guns all the time. He was telling me he got a Hellcat actually, and he was traveling down there, and he was on Bourbon Street and in the Mardi Gras, actually in the parade, and they have like a wand or some type of detector where they can detect if you're carrying guns, and they found that he was carrying a gun. He thought it was good, and this was right after that incident happened where that car drove through, right? And so I'm like, of course I'm gonna carry. Like he was there with his family, right? And he's a legal gun holder, right? But yeah, so they actually arrested him, took him to jail, and took his gun.
So was it like some type of, do you know what the legalities of it? Was it something due to the fact that it was Mardi Gras? There was some statute
not allowed to carry down there
at all
in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, on Bourbon Street, yeah.
Right.
They've got parishes there too, so maybe there's some unique.
Yeah, I guess. So he ended up, actually, and he works a government job. He has security clearance. So that messed with his security clearance. And of course, if he would have known, he would have just not taken the gun, right? Or just avoided the situation. But you talk about knowing what else is involved in that. So now he's like battling with trying to get this cleared up and affecting his security clearance.
And that's to my point is you travel to a place like that, you should know the rules and regulations, the laws around, especially if you're going to carry a gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I go to South Carolina, I know my concealed permit, it doesn't have the same legality around it.
Yeah. The reciprocation between different.
It's a little different. And so when you think about a mass shooting, depending on where it is, the best case scenario is you got out unharmed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can't even physically probably prepare for something like that because we don't even have that type of training facility nor expertise. That's real high level training. But the mental part behind it, before you leave your house, when they ask that question, what are you preparing for? I think that's what it hits on.
Yeah. And see, to that point, right? Because you mentioned leaving the house. And I think, Fred, you said, it's not always about the firearm, right? In other news this week, we had that. Well, we didn't have it. Thankfully, here on the East Coast, we aren't subject to such things. But that earthquake off the coast of Russia over near Alaska, a lot of those folks, in Guam, Hawaii, and even on the West Coast received evacuation orders, had to leave their homes, right? Again, God be with those folks. And I was happy to see a lot of the damage on the West Coast wasn't as bad as it could have been. But again, the preparedness, it's bigger than just carrying a firearm or a bad guy with the firearm, right? Some of us have families. Again, we've all got loved ones. And, in a situation like that, for me, the preparedness goes, again, I've got the guns for a threat, but sometimes the threat is of a different nature, right? And sometimes it's a matter of, am I able to coordinate with my family to get us to safety in a situation such as a mass evacuation, right? What if your daughter's up the street And, do you guys have a plan to rendezvous? Are you guys able to communicate? We saw that what was it, earlier or late last year, the outage with AT&T, and, the phones weren't working.
Yeah.
How do you communicate if these events overlap? How do you make sure that everybody's prepared? Do you have go bags? Do your kids know the procedure? This type of thing is kind of what goes through my head, and it alleviates a lot of anxiety, even though I give myself more to think about, knowing that I've kind of checked the boxes for those contingencies.
Yeah.
I find it therapeutic to a degree. So.
Oh yeah. And that's why I always tell people, like, we're the 2A is part of the world that I exist in, but it's not. I'm not a gun guy. Like, I'm a survivalist. Like, we practice survival all the time, from primitive up to anything past that. And that's because, like, I like to teach people to think, because people get the gun and they stop thinking. One of my friends, he does Doctors Without Borders. So the training that they do, they have them to get in there, and they put them in a simulated situation, and they say, hey, you're here with your family. You're here with your family, and now they're telling you that you're in this location. You know your location. You know where you are. You have 20 minutes to grab everything that you can grab, because there are negative forces coming into the area, and you need to be out in 20 minutes.
Right.
So you have to grab everything. So people make a list of all the things they bring. Everybody say, I'll bring a gun. I'll do this, not do that. That's the first thing put on the list. But what happens is they get the list, and then the first roadblock that they get to, they tell them they're not admitting anybody with firearms. That you have to turn them over in order for you to make this safe passage through. So now you've lost something.
Right.
Okay. Then you get to the next checkpoint, and they tell you that they're not letting any military age men in, but you're with your wife and your kids. So so all those things have to be worked out to the specifics of, okay, cool. If I'm here and I'm a survivalist, what do I really need? Right. When I prepare in 3 ways. What I want, what I need, and what I gotta have.
Right.
That's how I prepare every day, because I know that if it's what I gotta have, I want to have it in my pockets.
And some of that stuff is regional. Because where was that flood? Was it Texas or Tennessee?
The flood, flash flood was Texas, right?
Yeah.
Now, people high up saw the potential danger in that. It's why they were trying to send them funding to get it straightened out.
Right.
But as a resident of Texas, you could have never seen something like that come.
No.
There's very little you can do for like a flash flood. These things happen in a matter of minutes.
Somebody says, all right, like you said, you got to go, but you talking about having a go bag. It's like, what's next? What are you preparing for?
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, we're talking about getting out of a situation. You have a place to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if God forbid, all the people in your area, your family, friends, if their homes or their locations are also compromised, you can't go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, that's something that I'm personally looking to do in the future is, get some land a bit out in a more rural area where I can not only continue to prepare and exercise my rights and train for such scenarios, but also kind of have that as a fallback or, a bug out location.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Truck, brother.
Exactly. That's another thing too. Like, the truck, right?
You gotta be ready with it.
It gives you options, right? I'm not confined to the 2 lanes at all times, right? So that's something I think about as well.
Yeah. And I think it's, and people think that's crazy to have a go bag, but I grew up in the country, man. So it's like you always had like a truck. You got everything in the truck. Like what?
Right.
There's nothing I don't have in the truck. You have to prepare because you don't know what situation you're going to be in. I don't know if life is going to move me from where I am now to a whole other place in a couple hours. And then people haven't gotten that mind frame of, in the process of moving around, we may lose some people. The first thing people say, and I don't think that people realize it, it's like in the metro area, it's like 7 million people.
Yeah.
And first thing people say, I got 4 kids. If they don't know what to do, I'm going to waste my time going to get them because it's not guaranteed that they're going to be there.
Correct.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Shelton, you don't mind saying your age. How old are you?
42.
Out of your 42 years of living, how many times have you even come close to having to deal with a situation like this?
Where I had to just
an emergency, an extreme emergency situation where you had to question, am I prepared for it? How many times in your 42 years of living?
Well, there's different types of emergency, right? So you got like the natural disasters, like every year our power goes out. It just goes out from storms and stuff like that. So those are the things that I have to prepare for, you know, making sure that we got flashlights, candles, batteries and stuff like that. I have to prepare for that stuff, and I need to get a generator. You know, I got a battery pack. So these are some of the things that actually happen all the time that I have to prepare for. But
we're talking extreme though.
Extreme?
Like that flood in Texas.
No, I never had to experience anything like that.
But what about either one?
We just go. I mean, I'm only 33, but make sure that's no. Nah, personally, I haven't been faced with anything too crazy, right? You know, we get the occasional tornado warning, you know, and things like that. Yeah, I'm here in Georgia, but flash floods. Luckily, you know, we got a decent bit of elevation here in Atlanta, and you know, we don't suffer the earthquake, so the natural disasters not so much. But you know, to your point, right? I think there's levels to it, right? You know, what you mentioned, having batteries, flashlights, generators, spare water, filtration, extra food, things like this. Kind of, I like to think of like the first line of preparedness, right? Can I get through the next 72 hours if for whatever reason I can't leave the house?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the closest, I wouldn't even really say it's a true analog to a true emergency, but the closest thing that I remember, kind of like a real world preparedness scenario that I saw everybody's eyes kind of light up, was COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of people realized quickly that, you know, I work in supply chain, right? There's only 2 to 3 days worth of food on the shelves at any time. Right. And that's with regular demand levels, right? Yeah. But if for whatever reason those trucks stop coming, even if demand stayed normal, right, it's only going to be there for 48, 72 hours, right? Exactly. But in these scenarios, we saw that the demand went way up. The shelves emptied almost overnight. And I mean, you know, to your point, we see that all the time. Every time there's a rainstorm.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in
there's levels to it.
I was in school at Albany State, and it flooded. Well, we at school, like this, like the whole world just disappeared with water, you know, and you got water that you can't drink around you, you know, and like I said, your life has changed. Like, it's not, I'm calling anybody. Life has changed. It has changed immediately. People don't know where you are. People don't know what's going on. Like, you have to understand, like I said, you know, if you're not teaching your skills to your family, you're doing them a disservice. You know, just because you're in good places don't mean good things are going to happen.
Right.
It's just that we were in school. We did not know life was going to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. See, somebody trying to survive calling you now.
Somebody in need of help. Yeah. Nah, but I mean, you know, I think, you know, as y'all were talking, right, I kind of was thinking to the original question, what am I preparing for? I don't know that I'm preparing for anything in particular. For me, it's like I like the idea of being capable, right? I like the idea of self-sufficiency and not necessarily needing an outside hand in whatever scenario, right? I like to do a lot of this stuff, you know, that I do on my own, right? I was working on my truck the other day. I could have took it to the shop, but I like to know that I have that capability, that skill set. I like to, you know, again, continue to sharpen that and expand that as I go on. So I think preparedness and firearms kind of meet in the middle there for me, just having the ability to look out for myself and my loved ones and take care of myself and my loved ones and survive, you know, inclement or otherwise.
What about that 7 Mile alien ship?
I think that's
there's not much I can do about
good
that.
segment.
Yeah, because I was telling my wife about it. She's like, well, what we going to do? I'm like, well, I got this FRT. That's all I got. That IZ, the 100 round drum. Oh my! But that's all I can do. And it ain't going to do nothing to these aliens.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid it's aliens. But, you know, again, in these type of scenarios, you know, what can you do? That's kind of existential. That's like red level threat. Like we talked about lights going out. That's very mild.
Yeah.
Like, incoming 7 Mile asteroid, very significant.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where the motto is, well, with guys like us who probably like to over prepare, it's better to have it and not need it,
right?
Than not to have it and need it. But again, for all you people out here who are starting your journey in guns in this type of arena, do not run to your local Walmart or Amazon and start buying $17,000 worth of kit, survival gear.
Because don't buy kit from Walmart. First, like, go to reputable manufacturers.
Yeah. Probably not gonna need it. But like you said, Shelton, there has been talks in the news with the 7 Mile alien ship.
Well, it's a rock as far as we know, right?
It's a rock. They saying it's a rock?
Well, no, it's an asteroid or a large rock. They're saying that the trajectory into our solar system from outside is very unlikely to have occurred naturally. So that's where the speculation comes that maybe it's piloted. And I think it's only one guy, but he's a Harvard scientist. He's accredited, so it's not a kook saying this. But
bottom line,
I don't
it's
know.
done anyway. It don't even matter.
Yeah.
Done.
But what if they're just saying that so they won't spook you, so you won't go out and buy everything from Walmart? What if you just seen the movie with just came out with Ice Cube, War of the Worlds on Prime, like
I ain't watch it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. Hey, shout out Ice.
It was a rock when it came down. It was a rock.
It was just a rock.
Oh, they was all prepared for it?
It was a rock. All these asteroids hit the Earth, and when it hit the Earth, they thought they were rocks, and then they turned into these. They broke out and came to these machines and started ciphering data.
I gotta watch this.
So,
Oh, yeah.
it could be after the date.
But that would have been. And if you think about life in general, we're probably going to live our lives till 80, 85 and never see something like that happen. Or even be a part of some really significant.
Yeah, it's statistically rare.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Situation.
Especially being in America, we're kind of isolated from a lot of what the world experiences.
I mean, but some people, you live in Gaza, places like that.
Right.
This
Folks in Ukraine
This discussion makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Try These. They're a snack company that makes pecans, cashews, flavored, red velvet cake, cinnamon sugar, wonderful, wonderful nuts. You got to try these nuts. They're the best. If you go to trythese.com and use the code WDP15, you'll get 15% off.
We were talking about, Fred, you mentioned a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about this during the week. Now that we are in the gun arena and we're pretty familiar with guns, how they work, what you're going to do, how you shoot them. You think about some of the movies you've seen back in the day, in the past, that deal with guns. How realistic are some of these things that you see on TV? What's a good movie, anybody that you can think of? You're like, that's crazy now that I know.
I can't think of like a movie off the top of my head, but I think of like the guns that I thought were like the coolest, like Tech 9, like a Tech 9.
That was iconic. Yeah.
Every game.
Tech 9. Yeah. Like Tech 9 was like really kind of like, I think it was a rumor going around that you can't get fingerprints on Tech 9s. Did y'all hear about that?
I did not.
Yeah, it was like you can't get fingerprints on it. So that was the gun of the streets.
Fake news.
Yeah, but I was doing some research on it today. Actually, the designer of Tech 9, he actually started a new company. Would y'all guess what company?
Glock.
No,
He started a company we all know.
Oh, sick.
Nah, Kel-Tec.
Oh, that tracks.
That makes sense, right?
Tracks, yeah.
That makes sense because they have like the same type of wonky type of design.
Yeah, the guns aren't super expensive, but they get the job done.
They get the job done. Yeah. So I just think about that. I think about like the Uzi and certain guns, how I thought that these were the coolest guns ever. And then when I get into guns, I'm like, it's not top tier.
I will say, as far as like Hollywood goes, they've improved. Right.
Yeah.
You watch like some movie, it really depends on the budget.
Yeah.
Like some of the movies, like you're not even seeing the slide cycle on the pistols, and it's just unrealistic. I was watching the first Bad Boys movie the other day. They did a decent job with it, but some of the gunplay was a little
Right.
a little unrealistic. But it like I said, it's come up.
Unrealistic.
It's just some of the way that they're shooting, some of the situations that they're in, the way that they're just somehow able to dodge all of these bullets. Like, like you see a scene in the guys, he's in a narrow corridor running down the hallway, and somehow, the guys with, two guys with AKs don't manage to hit him in this 5.5 foot corridor. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not realistic. But I mean, I have, kind of, not to plug anything, but yeah, I don't think y'all have like a PlayStation or anything like that, right? But it's a game out there called Ready or Not. Now, this game is, I would say, extremely realistic, right? Because I think a lot of the ways that we get exposed to firearms now is through video games. This game is a little, I would say they've come a long way, right? You actually have to, you're basically on a SWAT team, and you're getting called into nightclub shootings. You're getting called into school shootings. and you've actually got to pie the door. You've actually got to make sure that you clear and secure the hostages. It's come a long way, but
that's real.
It's a good game.
I think when it comes to movies, I think the most disappointing thing to me is like when you really start doing this stuff. It's kind of like when you see people doing CQB work. It's tiring. I don't let anybody fool you. Like you're not walking up 30 flights of stairs doing CQB, rifle up, body armor on. Like they make it look so easy on the movies.
They do. Right.
And they're able to run and jump from building to building with plate carriers on and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. You see some people doing that on Instagram.
But see, Instagram, they want to make it look sexy. But like to your point, like after you clear a few floors, room after room, you're not holding that gun the same way. Your arms getting tired.
Yeah.
Your legs are sore, and you ready just to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So last week I did my training class with Coach Glugan. Man, it was 9 hours, and I'm just doing rifle, no pistol. And he just has us like doing a ready up position and stuff like that. But 9 hours of shooting, it's a lot. I've never trained that hard. Like, I'm like, dang, people do this like all day, like nonstop. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Soldiers. Or you think about Rambo movie?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Rambo in the jungle all day, man.
All day.
Right,
That's another classic one. That's a classic.
Carrying around gigantic.
He's got a machine. LMGs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's a real business over there.
And they got them belt fed guns.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing that get me when people get shot, they just tie a tourniquet and it's over. But they got to stay in the forest or the woods. No antibiotics, no painkiller. Like I'm trying to figure out what they get these men at. Like who are they? Like who are they? But the movies make it like that. Like it really is. Like I've seen some movie like there's a show called SEAL Team. I like it. I think they do a good job in that show. They do a really good job. A lot of stuff I've had an opportunity to have some experiences. I got some friends and some people that have been able to expose me to a lot of stuff. I've taken a lot of contracted classes, and it's humbling. It's humbling. It's humbling because it's not all about the shooting and being the best shooter.
No. What about some of those? You hit on that. What about some of those, like some of the Army movies, like Black Hawk Down? That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I watched American Sniper recently. That kind of inspired me to build a retro AR. I thought that was pretty good. I can't think of the name of this movie. It's a more recent, probably in the past 3 to 5 years. I think there was two. There was one where they were ex-operatives and they were trying to extract this giant amount of gold from the jungle. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking
about?
Triple Frontier. Triple Frontier. That one I thought was really good. And then there was another one where it was like a SEAL team and they kind of found themselves compromised and they had to kind of fight out of that situation. It's not all bad. Right. Some of these movies, like you can tell, are getting quality consultants involved. Yeah. And they're getting, some accurate gunplay. But even the John Wicks, some of the stuff he's doing, don't get me wrong. Like, I've seen him. I saw Keanu out there with Taryn. Taryn
in the 4
so the boy is shooting. But, so some of the stuff, the manipulations and, you're not doing that realistically. But I mean, hey, as long as you do it safely, make it look good. Right?
We should do that when you're in the street.
Yeah, doing this. I mean, my movie, and it didn't top Heat. But
it was great.
Den of Thieves. That shootout scene.
Yeah.
Everything was good except, 50 Cent running through that open field. But other than that, I got mad because you got this belt fed. You got all this stuff. You mean tell me that wherever you bought that belt fed from, they didn't have grenades, they didn't have smoke? Like,
that's true.
True.
Like I really don't like the movie for that. And like
my biggest gripe is bad capacity.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's a great one too. I didn't think about that.
Cats shoot forever.
Yes.
I don't see any extendos on the guns.
Yeah.
They just shooting forever.
And see, I think the average person doesn't know to even think about this. But like, I mean, you mentioned magazines. I've seen folks shoot a 6-shooter wheel gun, revolvers.
Yes.
Countless. Like just,
countless.
I'm sitting here counting like, okay, maybe it's a 22. Maybe he's got, 10 in the wheel, still going. All right, this is ridiculous. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But these are the type of things you notice once you are kind of in the fold, you know, and you're buying and shooting off, and you know, I certainly never did. I didn't know to look for that stuff before.
Have y'all ever been influenced by a movie and bought the guns from the movies? Like Terrence Tactical now.
Yeah, he's booming.
He's doing really well with placing those guns with John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
But have y'all ever seen movies or shows? Oh, you already said you did. Or video with the video
game, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them and said, "All right, let me go try this out"? Because people do gun reviews on them now.
Well, I'd say my MP5 is like, but it's like a classic from Die Hard, and it's just always
so many
classic,
movies. Yeah.
So many movies with the MP5, and I was like, I got to get it. So that was the one. It's not one particular movie, but it's just always in all the movies.
Right.
I wanted to get, because I'm a big James Bond fan. I wanted to get the PPK.
I still want one of those.
Yeah, but it's a 380, and you know, I don't. It would be cool, like to have it suppressed too.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be a nice little assassin gun. So to speak,
assassin gun. Yeah, so I was thinking that's like but that would be for like collection. It's not no use case for that. It's just like you have it in the collection.
Cool to have, right?
That's why I wanted the Desert Eagle.
Yeah,
and see, you know, as soon as you mention movies, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Not functional. I don't.
Not at all.
Unless you in the Safari, it's not functional. But movies made it cool though.
Yeah,
they did.
That and the 500 Magnum. Yeah. For whatever reason, I saw like those when I was like kind of flirting with the idea of getting into guns. Those were the first two on my list.
Mine too.
And they are the two least realistic use case firearms as far as handguns go that you could have, right? So it's just one of those things you kind of wake up to once you actually like get out there and start shooting. Right?
And I don't think people know you can't have machine guns.
People don't know that. I can't tell you how many women is like, you know, where are you? How do you have machine guns, or you have, you know, assault rifles? People like to call them. It's like, listen, we don't have assault rifles. Right? Assault rifles are owned by the military. They have a third position,
right? And
we're not talking FRT. So that's
these reset triggers though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's an exciting time. You know, I think a door is opened with the ATF and the Supreme Court. I don't know how long it'll be open, so I will do what I can to get what I can while I can.
I don't have one. Government. I don't.
Me either. That's why I said I'm gonna try to get something.
Yeah, I've never owned a gun. I don't own a gun. Yeah. I get an opportunity. I got access to some, but I don't own a gun.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends with guns.
Yeah.
Into that. No, but it's funny. You asked a movie that kind of prompted me to buy a gun, and it's kind of, you know, I hate to bring up another current topic, but I was watching. You know what? This is actually a great one. Wanted. Y'all have seen Wanted with Angelina Jolie?
Yes. Yeah.
Angelina, always great, but you know they're curving the bullets, and all of that. Right? It's nonsense, right? You know, I mean, that's the type of thing I never bought into, but it's Hollywood magic. Yeah. Now, I think in the movie they had like a modified Beretta 92, right? And after I moved past that Desert Eagle and that Smith & Wesson 500 stage, that was going to be my first gun. Now, my first gun ended up being a SIG P320. Now, why was I leaning towards the Beretta in the first place? I was leaning towards the Beretta because, you know, it had the military service record, and, you know, it had been fielded. The reliability had been tested, right? And it wasn't until I did some more searching that I realized, they just signed a new contract for a new service weapon. And so naturally I did what a lot of people did. And this is why SIG has sold so many of these guns, is I bought, you know, what the new American service weapon is, again, trusting that track record. And so, you know, I'm now looking again at the Beretta 92. Cause you know, I do own two SIG P320s.
Yeah. Let's not skip over that, man.
Yeah. You know, I do. And I'm unabashedly admit
over that. Let's talk.
And you want to talk about Glock.
Yeah. Listen. What I'll say about the SIGs is I've been blessed to have two fully functioning examples. I haven't been able to reproduce any of the failures, but none of those failures should take place.
Do you have the play in your gun? Like,
well, so
do you have the play?
I'll say this. So my first one was kind of just a base P320, but that lives in the Flex Raider chassis now. Okay. And so it's a little different, I think, as far as like the play. But my second one's the AXG Pro. So that's the metal frame. And those have a slightly different construction as far as that, you know, the tolerances than the polymer ones. But again, I don't think it should happen at all.
So you don't have the play in the metal frame one?
I mean, I have a bit, but not as much as I was seeing in some of the demonstration videos that these guys are showing. Yeah.
When you see it now, though, does it concern you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, again, I haven't had an issue, but nobody should be having an issue, or at least it shouldn't be as reproducible and as widespread as it is. Again, I think I was saying off camera, right? Like a lot of these videos I'm seeing, these guys are taking the slack out the trigger to reproduce this failure. Now, devil's advocate once more, I can't think of a scenario where I'm taking the slack out the trigger and I don't intend to pull it that last 10%. However, there should be no scenario that a firearm goes off, slack or otherwise, where I didn't completely break that trigger back. And
what about if you're in the process of letting off the trigger?
It's the ones in the holsters for me.
That's the one.
That's disconcerting.
Okay, but for the people that don't know about the P320,
you want me to tell them?
Yeah, I want you to tell them that. Break that. I think that's funny. I think it's funny to have you tell them.
And comment down in the comment section what kind of gun you have, and if you have a 320, do you still carry it?
Yeah, do you trust it? I think it's ultimately the question, right?
To not shoot you.
So I think as I understand the story, right, when I bought my P320, it might have been 2018. I think around that time, there was some concerns with like the drop safety, right? And dropping it and then having it go off. People were hitting them on the back with the hammer. And I think at that time, SIG did a voluntary, whatever that means, a voluntary recall program where you can upgrade, you get the new trigger. I purchased one of those post-upgrade models. So that was my first gun. Now, fast forward to 2025, and we've got quite a few, I was going to say countless, but we've got quite a few examples of, and reports of these guns going off kind of unsolicited, right? They're in the holster, they're seated on a table. And I think most recently, Air Force Airman, I think if I remember correctly, had a Safariland holster and he had it on the QLS fork. So you can slide that holster with the gun in it off your belt. And so he slid it out, still in the holster. And, he's taking his gun off of his belt and placed it on the table, unfortunately facing him. And that gun shot him in the chest and he passed. And so SIG's under a lot of fire, unironically.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to really admit it because admitting fault will make them liable for these deaths, and they're just trying to hold it out.
Yeah, I mean, and see, my thing is this: like, if y'all know, and from what I've gathered, it sounds like the people at SIG do know that there's an issue, but again, they don't want to publicly state this.
Right.
Why haven't you created a new iteration on the design, fixing that, or even better, doing a recall for all the existing models out there? I understand that's going to be a huge recall. They've got at least 500,000 to 1 million probably in service hands, countless others with police departments and civilian hands. That's a huge recall.
Yeah,
but it's certainly better than the negative PR.
It's companies function like that.
Yeah,
Fred, you like Glock? Glock hasn't changed in 17 years.
Well,
they like Blackberry.
It's been longer than 17. I'll tell you that.
Works. See,
they like Blackberry.
Identification is very important in companies. Nobody's gonna keep paying y'all out stuff, man. Y'all keep buying it. We trying to keep up. We trying to keep up the product for you.
It's evolution.
But they keep on. They slowly modify though.
They do. They change.
They slowly change and modify.
Yeah,
It's just small things.
It's too many manufacturers out there making guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy a Canic.
You'll be Blackberry.
What you think
Yeah,
about?
why are you trying to those John candidate?
You think about Glock. Like, if I had a product that I didn't have to change, I didn't have to go get new stock, I didn't have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
And just change Gen 1 to Gen 2, and y'all still buy it. All I got to do is just, with market value, up the price every once in a while so we can stay competitive, not mess up the market. I mean, why would I change it?
You can't operate like that forever.
But here's the thing. If I can identify myself like you're going to change it anyway. You're going to keep promoting it for me regardless without me doing anything. You're going to go get all the aftermarket parts. So that way, if you put an aftermarket trigger in your gun and it goes off,
that's on you now.
That's on you. That ain't on
Modified
me.
it, right?
They tell you when you take it back to the Glock factory, if you come there with this new Glock trigger and new barrel, they're going to take it out and put theirs back in there. They're not going to put it in your hands the way you gave it to them because they have to identify themselves to make sure that they're not going to get sued. Because it doesn't matter if we don't give you a brand new trigger or if we do this, we do that, because you're going to go do it. You're still going to market for me. You're still going to take it and get it stippled. You're going to do all these things
for now.
Yes.
For now.
To your point, Nick, I think you do have to upgrade.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many guys were out there with us? About
It was a solid group.
12, 15?
Yeah. I would say about 15.
Did anybody have a Glock? Not one.
Feel bad for them.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, and so also, to bring it back to the P320, right?
Oh,
Glock was in that in that competition for that service weapon. I don't know why they didn't get the contract. I don't know if anybody has said grease and palms, but it could be because they didn't iterate. Like you see, for example, we finally now have new Trijicon red dots for the pistols, right? The RMR was the same for how long? It wasn't until you got that variety from HoloSun, you know, they're pumping it out. We got closed emitters, competition size dots, different colors, adjustable reticles. That Trijicon actually felt the need to, all right, we got to do something. Like they could have done it all along. They had the capability. It's just like you said, I'm comfortable. I got contracts, I got customers, and I have the reputation of being the best and most reliable. So why change anything?
I think they needed to meet the requirements of it being modular.
That was the key. I think that's what really made SIG kind of jump.
And that was the big appeal with it. It's like it's modular. It's a flat trigger. It's real clean. It's a little too clean now, right? They could have put a safety on the trigger, right? Yeah. And I heard that actually that was like in their original design, but they didn't want to put that safety on the trigger because it's not the sales appeal of having a flat trigger like that. You know what I'm saying? So they just took it out. But now I bet they wish they would have added it.
I mean, and the modularity is cool. I will say that. You know, like I said, I got the P320. When I got it, I bought like a smaller compact grip, like a 10-round mag. I never carried the P320. I never got that far. So I meant to say in that regard. But I was, you know, thinking like maybe I could. Now I got it in the Fluctuator, just the ability to move that FCU around. It is pretty cool. But there's limited options when it comes to that. So now I'm looking not really to replace those pistols because I can't sell them for anything at this point, but to get something else. It's just like, what do I get? I won't say that they're down that bad, but I think that the reputation is, the words got around. I mean, I saw it. I couldn't tell you what the blog was, but it had nothing to do with firearms. It was not a blog, but a YouTuber. They don't cover firearms, but he's talking about it. But it's mainstream now.
Oh, yeah. And see, and that's what I mean with gun manufacturers having and needing to pivot. It only takes one bad report. Next thing you know, you went from having those military contracts, police contracts, to not having them. And so where I do believe that Glock is an amazing brand, and a lot of these companies, you know, are starting to change things. I do believe just in business in general, if you're not keeping up with the game, you're going to be put out of it.
Yeah, eventually you will be left behind.
But let's just be, I mean, but you got to say, even with Glock, like, they don't stress a whole lot. And I'm not really advocating for them because they ain't never really promoted me either. So I'm not finna do that. I just like, I like the gun because
I believe you're getting paid, brother.
I understand. But I truly, like I said, most of the things I've done with that Glock, and it's proven every time. You know, but outside the country, they sell those things like candy. Like, that's just what they do. But they're, you know, I'm not saying, in here in America, we have this little fishbowl that we live in. And we think that everything that we do is the best thing. You know, we think that our military is the only military that do this stuff around the world. You know, but at the same time, it's just, and it's okay. It's okay. We can do that. You know, I don't think too many people get up in the morning and be like, hell, I'm ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they don't. Well, I ain't gonna say, I don't know how many people do, but not too many people do that. All right. But, you know, so there's nothing wrong with, like you say, you know, we Americans, we want more. It doesn't matter. Like, we're not going to go, you can't just give us a salad anymore. A salad is not just, tomatoes, cheese, and
you gotta have chicken in it now.
Nah, you got to have everything in it now.
Right.
You know, so,
yeah.
And I get it. You get what I'm saying? It's not just that, you know, they can't do anything else. It's just that you talking about a company that big, that how much do we have to pay out if something do happen? Like, it's going to cost SIG something, because SIG doesn't make just pistols, regardless or not. Like you're slapping every other product that you've done because you letting it happen.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. They got to come to the table and do something. Like we were talking about this before. Like I still love my MCX. I'm not eager to replace that firearm, but I do want SIG to kind of come to the table, take accountability, and I'll happily take a GTO. Yeah, you know, as our replacement. You dig what I'm saying?
Shelton, would you ever buy a SIG?
Oh, I had a SIG. I had a P320.
Oh, what happened to it?
I traded it for a Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson.
Not because of that though.
No, this is way before that. I shot a Smith & Wesson at at my gun club, and the way it fit my hand, it was just
better.
It's just better. And I know I was talked about the staccato last time, and we had a little troll that was coming in on the comments on me. It was like, you think I'm buying a better gun to make you a better shooter? It's not about buying a better gun. It's about what fits my hand.
Yeah.
Right. And
which is why you got rid of it, right?
I got rid of it. And I'm still at the Smith & Wesson. I'm just going to stay there.
Right.
I mean, I can dabble around, but it just fits my hand. I can get to the mag release, the slide release real easy, and it just works for me. So I'm there. So,
right.
But I got rid of it. But I liked it. I liked the modularity of it. Like I had all type of grips, and it was still none of the grips that I like. I don't know. I
feel the same way. When I picked up Ryan's, he has a 320. It's a 320.
Yeah, that picture's got one. Yeah.
Giant thing. Just the ergonomics of it alone, I was like, nah, this is not it.
Yeah, see, and that's so when I got mine, initially I had kind of the standard M18 kind of grip. I didn't like it. Then I went on and got the X carry grip. Suddenly that works, right? I bought it stippled. It had the little undercut for your middle finger up under the trigger guard, and suddenly, I'm shooting that gun, shooting it well. So to your point, I think ergonomics are pretty important. I'm not one of the people that like, I don't get too stuck on it. I'll be completely honest. Almost every gun that I've owned, I didn't like sample shoot it, right? I see that, I want that. I'm ordering it to my FFL, and I'll figure out how to shoot it once it gets here. You dig what I'm saying? But to your point, I think there's a lot of shooters out there that the ergonomics are going to be a big factor. Even the staccato for me, I've kind of mastered it now, but I do have to kind of shift my grip to hit that mag release, and then shift it back to get back in action. So there's something to be said about that for sure.
You gonna sell your cheddar bob now?
I'm gonna hold him. Shout out to Hitcock 45. I was watching his video the other day. He kind of said the same thing. He was saying, I'll probably just keep them, and like I was saying, I'm probably not going to get much for them at this stage if I sell them. But realistically, I expect down the line there'll be either SIG or another company that finds a fix.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to, send them in and get them touched up. So I'll do that.
Yeah, hopefully it's not another company.
If another company steps up before SIG, that's going to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But SIG, if you need somebody to ship these guns to for testing, sponsors.
I'm happy to shoot SIG.
Brother right here is ready.
But I'm thinking about switching to like a 226 or something, just to get away from the drama and the negative comments.
Because anybody see it at the range, it's over.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Safety.
See, now to your point though, like I'm still seeing folks run them at competitions. It's still a relatively
too.
Yeah, well, see, now that's another thing too. Now SIG is the sponsor for the USPSA, so I don't know how long that'll last. But I don't see them banning the pistols. But I guess the only silver lining to having a P320 in competition use only is that 90% of the time, if not more, your gun's unloaded. So
that's true.
There's that. And that's probably the only way that I would continue to shoot my P320. I don't carry for duty. I'm certainly not concealed carry. I mean, I've got better guns for concealed carry, so I'm not going to do it like that. But
yeah. Bottom line, if you got a 320, be careful.
Be careful. Yeah, be careful.
You're right. You heard from a man. He don't even carry his.
I don't even carry.
But Fred, you had a subject you wanted to kind of circle back around on and talk about. Let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching this thing on TikTok, and it was talking about all these black cities that were just pretty much erased in Georgia, after emancipation. Like after emancipation, a lot of people settled in these rural areas and they made cities. They came up with their own little cities. But of course, due to development, growth, they were redlined out, or they were blighted, or they just pretty much took the cities away.
There you go. Tell how it is.
Some of them are lakes now.
Yeah. Some of them, a lot of them are lakes now.
They're literally neighborhoods underneath these lakes.
And,
right?
and I like just living in the South, you hear these stories, all these horrible stories, and it's like the media always glorifies these stories, and you think about people act like people have gotten more civilized. It's just that we live in a system where the system, it will design itself to keep a certain group with the most attention on them. So that way people are allowed to inflict whatever their emotions, their feelings, their whatever on that group of people. And it's like, people that reflect me have always found a way to not interact with the system, but engage it by saying, okay, we're just gonna walk on this side of the road. We're gonna just move over here. But they never had a way to defend themselves. Like we're having a conversation now about guns being prepared, all this stuff, you know. And like I said, the talks that we're having, like we were talking about situational awareness, we were talking about being prepared and all this kind of stuff. Think about when there were situations where we didn't even have time to prepare. They could just come in and just take it, and it wasn't, you know, that was just it. Like I come in, I offer you $10 for your property, and you refuse to give it up.
We're coming back that night.
Right.
And you don't have anywhere to any way to protect yourself. I think about that Emmett Till movie. And Emmett Till's mother went over to her uncle's house, and she was like, "You had a shotgun on the wall, and you didn't use it." He said that when they came to his door, he said he felt like the whole city was at his door right then. He didn't even pick it up.
Right.
Because even if he would have done that and protected his nephew, who else would have rolled with him?
Right.
Because I guarantee you, since the law was on the side of those people, regardless if they wrong or not, the law's still on your side.
Right.
That would have still been, like you said, the whole city, the sheriff and everybody, to make sure that they exacted punishment.
Yeah.
We're in a place now and I hear people say, especially people that reflect me, they'll say stuff like, "Well, you're obsessed with guns," or you know, why do you have to train all the time? Or why do you have to do that? Like, you know, or you want to be a cop? You want to be in the military? No.
I get that all the time.
No, it's other stuff I like to do besides do that.
Right.
What I'm saying is everybody should be a capable man or a capable woman.
Exactly.
And so my thing is don't do yourself a disservice, and then you're doing the same thing they did in the past. Like they didn't have an option about being able to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
Or go get a P320 or get a Glock or do anything. Like you probably had a shotgun.
Yeah.
Right.
You probably have a shotgun. So now if you sit on the couch right now and you're choosing to just be in the mindset of a victim because you're comfortable,
Yeah.
imagine when it ain't comfortable no more.
Right. Yeah, that's a you know, I get that all the time, right? Folks, you know, what are you preparing for? What are you training for?
How far do you
Are you trying to be in the military? You wearing camo, right? It's like it's you know what I'm saying? The layman, like the regular person, doesn't seem to grasp the need for that capability sometimes. And within our community, right, I had this conversation with my uncle and my cousin on one of their podcasts maybe a couple years ago now. And, you know, I kind of mentioned gun rights and how it's kind of opened me up to preparedness and even understanding the other set of the Bill of Rights that I have, you know. Mm-hmm. And my uncle mentioned, he said, "Hey, you know, when they wrote these, they didn't apply to you." I said, "Absolutely." Mm-hmm. But thanks to those that came before me that actually fought for this, died for this, today they do. I'll be damned if I don't take up those rights, right? And I don't exercise those rights. And it comes to the point, right, like you said, right, the history that we've got, the background that's unique to us in this country wasn't always one of empowerment when it comes to self-defense. No. Right. And luckily we live in a day and age today where, you know, whether they like it or not, the powers that be, we can. Yeah. So I shall.
Yeah, we as civilians have to exercise our rights to bear arms, but also, like, I know you were mentioning, like, are we trained to be police officers? Like, we live in Atlanta, and we know that it's a lot of black police officers.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of black officials in it. So we, not just as in the system, we can get in the system and change the system. We don't have to be outside of the system and complain about it and march and protest. I mean, some people choose to do that, but I think it's a more effective way of just learning the system, getting in the system, and learn how to work the system for us. And so, yes, we got to stay strapped, but we also got to make sure we're voting, make sure we're donating to campaigns and to certain people that represent us, right, and the people that are stepping up and saying, "I want to be a politician, I want to be a police officer, I want to be in the military." We got to support that.
We need them all.
We need them all.
Yeah. We need all kinds.
Yeah, we need them all. And we didn't talk about this regarding the agenda, but it made me think again to the level of how far do we go with education centered around this, because like you said, we're gonna need a team of people just for growth.
Yes.
And we typically train, it's called self-defense training. And I think people in the gun world get that confused with really what it is. You're not typically training to be on the offensive side of something.
It's responsive.
It's a responsive type of training. And so how far do you go with something like that? How often do you do it? That's subjective.
Yeah.
It's subjective. But you think about your training now, Shelton. Do you think you're prepared beyond just the guns? Incorporate that as well. Do you think you're prepared to keep your family as safe as they need to be on all levels?
I don't think I could be more prepared. There's certain things that I want to do more. I want to, I need to store some water and have a water cleaning system. I have like the straw that you can put in the lake, life straw, but I want to have
You
some.
got one?
Huh?
You just got one?
I got like 2 or 3.
Oh,
Yeah, we need a couple more.
Yeah, I need a lot more. But I got a family of 5, so
Yeah.
I need
Something more.
I need a purifier. I need a bigger system for that, right?
But you can get they're portable ones too, because like people get that confused. And I know this ain't got nothing to do with it, but when people say that, I try to correct them. Those water straws are water filters.
Correct.
They're not water purifiers.
Right, yeah.
They don't get rid of protozoa diseases and you got to make sure you understand. Like we do this, and like I said, you are part of the organization. Like you should be coming out to the survival track.
Hey, you ain't. I've been waiting for my.
All right, I follow you. Every time I call you, like you bees on the weekend.
No, that's after next weekend, I'm all free, and
Listen, I'll be happy to do that. And I think, I think something you said just a moment ago kind of got me thinking. Right? Are we prepared? What are we training for? Right? What are we preparing for? You run an organization where you can get those practical skills, right? And again, I'd be happy to come out there. I want to get outside, and I just love being outdoors. But what are some things that, kind of as we kind of come to a close, we had a pretty wide-reaching discussion.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that the viewer rather has something that they can take as far as preparedness that they might kind of get to, other than don't buy a P320 right now, obviously, right? But I think one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is if you don't have a bug out bag, have a get home bag.
There we go.
Keep something in the truck that has, it could be the most mundane things, right? Do you have a raincoat in the car, right? God forbid your tire goes flat and you got to do that on the side of the road, or for whatever reason you got to hoof it, right? Can you protect yourself from the elements? Do you have a spare change of clothes, a way to stay warm, a way to filter water, God forbid if it's a more extended scenario, right? Spare ammunition, things like that. It gets very big, and there's a lot of creators out there that have already kind of touched on those topics. But I encourage everybody just to have at least some degree of preparedness items in their car, right? Could you even jump your car? Some people don't have a means to, jump their vehicle.
It's a night vision there.
Yeah.
It was a night vision.
Another thing is a good thing to have is digital copies of things. Like what we do is we email ourselves sometimes life insurance policies, Social Security cards. Make sure we got it stored in a secure documentation and stuff like that, because you don't think about that stuff, and it's going to be really hard to, especially when you're trying to move around. I got my guns in my safe, and I got my passports too.
Right. Me too.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. So making sure we have that, making sure you got cash,
That's a big one.
on hand, and bullets ready to go.
How many rounds are y'all keeping on hand? Just that you don't shoot, right? Just God forbid we can't buy ammo tomorrow. How much do you have at home?
For 5.56, I probably got maybe 2,000-3,000.
Okay.
That's crazy.
That's not bad. That's not. I mean, I try to tell people have at least 1,000 rounds per caliber, at least, and that's really not a lot. I mean, as we come to shoot, right, that's not a lot of ammo.
Yeah, I got them green tips too.
Yeah, I store green tips for inclement and those bad scenarios, right?
Yeah. Mine's right at 1,000 for both.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you have people that are I got friends that got pallets of ammo.
I need to meet these friends.
You can't carry it, so it don't matter. That's something tomorrow you cannot carry it.
Yeah.
You can't take all the guns. You can't carry all the ammo. And then half the people ain't even in shape, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a big one too.
Going in the back of my truck. We're going to save that.
Okay, I was going to say that might be your point.
Yeah. I want to get on that one because I see a lot of people training, and I'm like, man, you better be able to shoot. Yeah. I think you better be able to shoot because it's over.
You better be good.
Yeah. That's a big one because even for me, I go to the gym, I'm physically in shape, but my conditioning is bad. I've recently got back to running, and it's been challenging, bro. Just getting back to where I'm comfortable. I've got a comfortable heart rate, and getting that VO2 to a healthy level. It's made me realize that it's bigger than just carrying heavy shit, right?
You pick up that go bag, and you got a truck at 6 miles.
Oh yeah, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it quick.
Yeah, Ryan had us out there running hard,
Yeah, lifting. He told me that that timber that we were carrying was 150 pounds.
I did that after the 9 hour,
Right.
the 9 hour training. But yeah, I'm working on getting it. I gotta hit you up from some personal trainer, man. I know I've been saying that, man, but you gotta do a virtual personal trainer like that.
Typo.
Yeah, nah.
Yo, what about you though? What are some things that you would say for preparedness for the for the average person out there?
Honestly, for the average person who's going to come across probably, which is your everyday emergency, would be power outages. You get in a car wreck that may be in some inclement weather. You may come across a horrible storm, like in your lifetime, COVID. You live in California, you might come across a riot,
Earthquake,
right? Earthquakes. So some of this stuff is depending on where you live and just literally the economics of where you live. And so I would tell people to have just at least the basics of, can I get from point A to point B, which is probably your mama's house.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get from point A to point B? You know what I mean? Can I get to point A to point B safely with the people that I need to have with me? Because realistically, you're not going to be shooting your way out of the woods.
Right.
It's not going to happen now. Do you have, like Shelton said, your documents on email or from some digital format? Do you have some type of clean water, rain jackets, boots, things of that nature, spare tires? And so I think with this culture, a lot of people go to the extremes, and let's be real, a lot of stuff is expensive. And so you don't have the money to be a doomsday prepper.
No, you don't.
Yeah, start small.
Right. Nor do you have a bunker. They're coming to that bunker if you got one, trust me. It's not going to end that way. And so for me, I tell people to at least have the basics, but more importantly, just the mental preparedness of what could go wrong. Are you mentally prepared? And so if it does, it's not a huge surprise. Like, where do I go next? What do I do?
Right.
So do you have a plan? And does your family know it?
That's a big one. That's a big one. I mean, I hope, that gets some of the viewers out there kind of thinking, because it's a wide reaching topic. And once you start, you kind of think of more things that you can plan and prepare for.
Yeah.
But
so comment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got some questions, we'd be happy to engage with you guys in the comments. But, of course, as usual, right? It's always, a pleasure to have these conversations with y'all and bring this information to you guys as the viewer. I'm hoping that, to at least some degree you found this entertaining, and ideally you found it educational to some degree as well. So, again, always a pleasure. You can find our individual socials and the like down in the description. And with that,
make sure you like and subscribe. Merch is coming soon. I'm working on it. We're going to have it up soon. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Y'all.